The Edge at 11 starts now.
Tonight on The Edge, an international crime ring targeting Ulta stores in Michigan and beyond.
So the crew from South America got away with $250,000 worth of merchandise, and that is until they were tracked down by the Shelby Township Police Department. Fox News' Jessica Dupnack joins us live with more on how they caught up with these thieves in Ohio.
That's some pretty good investigative work here. Now, the trio accused of hitting 7 stores here in Michigan, including the one in Warren right behind me in the last couple of months. Now, as you say, Shelby Township investigators, they were the one who foiled this plot. And when they first started looking into this, started peeling back those layers, they didn't quite realize how massive this whole operation was. How much worth of product were they able to get?
Right now, we have a number of about $250,000 worth of product.
And that's from the 7 stores in Michigan?
That we know of.
$250,000. This tornado of a trio allegedly ripped off from Ulta stores in Michigan alone.
Ultimately, we found out that these 3 females hit approximately 18 states.
Investigators say they've been going from state to state, scooping up perfume and cosmetics by the carload. These Ulta theft rings have been popping up for the last decade. This crew in Philly caught on surveillance video 2 years ago. The MO stays the same.
They would probably have someone driving and then someone looking out to make sure that they're not going to get caught while the other one is collecting the items, and then they walk out the store.
This latest crew, though, made one major mistake, using the same getaway car and license plate during their spree. Plates picked up by flock cameras that snap photos of plates. Their plate popped up all over the state, then into Ohio near Toledo, where they allegedly struck again. But for the last time, police down there jumped at the chance to move in.
They were able to locate the three females, locate the vehicle, and more stolen merchandise inside the vehicle.
Charged in Ohio, then sent north to Shelby Township, where they were charged with retail fraud and given $25,000 cash bonds.
They have addresses from New York and New Jersey, but ultimately they are from Peru.
And they are undocumented.
That is correct.
And that means they're on a U.S. Immigration and Customs detainer on top of their current charges, which may keep mounting.
If you come into our township and you're going to steal, you're going to face the consequences.
Now, none of these ladies could come up with that $25,000 bond. And as we said, they're on an ICE detainer. Now immigration will get involved. They will have a final say on what happens in terms of their status here in this country. Reporting live in Warren, Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
Well, Jessica, this is a lot of money. Did police say what this trio or any other suspects are doing with all these products?
Yeah, so what they're doing is they are reselling them, either person-to-person sales or Facebook Marketplace. That was one of the things that Shelby Township said. They said buyer beware. If you see a bottle of perfume that's typically $100 going for $35 on Marketplace, it might be stolen.
It sounds too good to be true. It probably is. Jessica, thank you.
We're frightened. Everybody's scared, but the police were on site in seconds.
Caught on camera, a brazen break-in attempt in Shelby Township. It happened Sunday night in a neighborhood near 25 Mile in Shaner. Security video shows a suspect break open a door and get into the garage. The home's alarm system scared off the intruder, but the homeowners are terrified.
Kids were frightened. Everybody's scared, but the police were on site in seconds.
Police are aware of attempted break-ins in surrounding cities. They're asking for tips from the public as they work to catch the suspect. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. We're just weeks away from another major freeway closure.
So to help people prepare for a 2-year construction project on 696, MDOT hosted a meeting tonight. Fox News' Dave Kinchin tells us what we needed to know.
What does 2 years worth of patience look like? Well, we're about to find out.
Just concerned about all the cut-throughs that happens all the time due to traffic, rush hour, dream crews, arts, beats, and needs.
MDOT held an informational open house in Oak Park discussing the last phase of the I-696 Restore the Ruther project. It's set to start in early March, and it's a biggie.
We're completely reconstructing the pavement from Lasser Road to I-75. We're also doing drainage repairs, wall repairs.
MDOT is also rehabbing 60 bridges along that corridor and rebuilding the Church Street Plaza Bridge.
The public may know it as the tunnel under 696, the one with the icicles on it. So we're completely rebuilding it, taking all the beams and the deck off and putting new ones back.
The project is a dividing line for many.
I think it is way too long. 2 years is ridiculous. Other parts of the country, they do it much faster. In Europe, they have standards that are much better and faster.
Of course, this will mean finding drastically different ways to get around town.
With the closing of the expressway, you know, I'm just kind of wondering how much more I'm going to be impacted by that, and myself getting home.
So when I get to Lasher, I either have to go right up to 11 Mile and come across to Coolidge, or I can go down to 9 Mile and go across Coolidge and all that. So we'll see. I don't know how traffic will be.
The westbound side of 696 will be open, and there's a big reason for that.
It's really a safety concern for us. If we had both bounds of traffic on one side of the roadway, if there's a crash, if there's anything that happens, it's very difficult to access that area for first responders. So really, this was the safest and most efficient way to build the project.
In the meantime, start planning your alternate routes to work, school, and beyond right now, and keep your chin up.
It doesn't do any good to get crabby about it. I mean, I think the powers that be have thought the whole thing through, you know, and if it's necessary, it needs to get done.
So March 1st is when the work begins. DrivingOakland.com is where MDOT will be updating the public. And of course, Fox 2 Detroit will follow every aspect of it as well. In Royal Oak, Dave Kinchin on The Edge.
The mayor of Windsor says he's putting Canada first amid tariff threats against the Great White North. Mayor Drew Dilkens is pausing a deal with the Detroit Grand Prix. The move stops paying for a shuttle bus at the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel that brings tens of thousands of race fans to the race each year. Mayor Dilkens says if the tariffs go away, then the sponsorship will continue.
And that's when news alert, the United States Postal Service is suspending their acceptance of international packages from China and Hong Kong effective immediately. The Postal Service says that letters and flat mail from those countries will not be impacted. The suspension will remain in effect until further notice.
President Donald Trump making headlines yet again. This time, he says he wants the United States to take over the Gaza Strip and redevelop it.
So he says he's not ruling out deploying American troops to the area. Fox's Caroline Shively shows us how other Middle Eastern countries are reacting.
In a news conference Tuesday night, President Trump said he wants the U.S. to take long-term ownership of the Gaza Strip, saying the war-torn territory could become the Riviera of the Middle East.
Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area.
To do it, the president said he wants all Palestinians to leave Gaza.
If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
Arab leaders strongly oppose Palestinians relocating to other countries, saying it would allow Israel to take over the territory. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who joined Trump at the White House, gave his backing to the plan.
I think it's something that could change history, and it's worthwhile really pursuing.
Jordan and Egypt have repeatedly rejected Mr. Trump's plan to relocate Palestinians to their countries. Jordan's King Abdullah is coming to the White House next week.
Bring them home now!
Outside the White House Tuesday, protesters pushed for the release of the 40 remaining Israeli hostages. Over the second phase of the ceasefire, all remaining captives are supposed to be released, and Israeli troops are to withdraw from Gaza.
We'd like to get all of the hostages, and if we don't, it will just make us somewhat more violent.
Although initial projections estimated it will take 5 years to rebuild Gaza, White House officials say it could take 15. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Despite seeing the sun today was a bit cold, weather's a little quiet now, but things are going to change pretty soon.
Yeah, it got colder as the day went on, and Thursday morning, well, it might be slick. with a freezing rain possibly in the forecast?
That's exactly right, Taryn and Brandon. It's going to be dry and quiet for the rest of tonight and tomorrow. You can see there's really not much out there to our west except for all the clouds streaming in our direction. But it's going to be late Wednesday night into Thursday morning that we will likely see a round of wintry mix, some sleet, perhaps some freezing rain. So Thursday morning to start the day could be wintry around here, to say the least. Let's take a look at some live pictures from Chicago. Kind of cool looking shot with the clouds and the skyline. 23 degrees in the Windy City right now. Notice that we're down a good 10 degrees from this time yesterday. Even colder numbers around Columbus and Pittsburgh, out east around Toronto. 33 and 22. If you look at the averages, we're pretty close to where we should be for this time of February. How about the record? 63 on the high side, and there's a negative 10. Way back in 1875. A lot of us right now between 20 and 25. These numbers will slide a few degrees colder, but with this blanket of clouds, temperatures aren't going to be falling off dramatically. There is a light flow from the north and northeast. That will continue as well. It is cold up there at Marquette, 7 degrees. How about 8 above in Minneapolis? There's a couple spots north of us that are below 0. 20 in Buffalo, 10 degrees. Montreal, 27 down in Pittsburgh. High pressure keeps us dry tonight and for tomorrow, but I'm going to stop the animation when the wintry weather arrives. It's going to be late tomorrow night, after midnight, when we'll see perhaps a few flakes, but it's the sleet and freezing rain that'll cause the problems. But quickly Thursday morning, it is out of here. It does turn colder Thursday night into Friday. You'll see the numbers in the 7-day forecast. For the rest of tonight, cold and quiet, down to 20 degrees on average, back up near 30 tomorrow, but it's going to be late Wednesday night when the wintry weather comes our way into Thursday morning, and then another round of wintry weather Saturday afternoon and evening. Could be some accumulating snow. Remember, always get the latest forecast. Check it out, the Fox 2 Weather app. Download it for free right now or anytime in the App Store or in Google Play.
Superficial wounds, what appears to be from a pocket knife.
A student stabbed inside a high school. The violent assault took place this morning inside a boy's bathroom at Avondale High in Auburn Hills. We're told a 15-year-old boy was stabbed with a pocket knife by a 16-year-old who ran away from the school after the attack. The 15-year-old called his parents, who took him to the hospital. The suspect was arrested at his home. Tonight, he is at the Oakland County Children's Village Juvenile Detention Center awaiting those charges. The victim suffered minor injuries.
The reason we got a search warrant is we're trying to be very slow, very methodical, do everything the appropriate way.
Police execute a search warrant at the West Bloomfield home where a house fire left 3 children dead there. Detectives were on scene for several hours today on Pembury Lane. The fire broke out Sunday night. A 16-year-old girl and 2 boys, ages 12 and 15 years old, all died. West Bloomfield police will turn their findings over to the prosecutor's office for review. The victims' parents, we're told, are cooperating.